All right, for shift functions, this one is going to be a little bit weird, but I think that y'all can get it. If you have not yet finished quadratic stuff, you need to make sure that you have all of that done since report cards or progress report cards are going out this week. But if you're on top of all your work like you should be, continue on with this video. All right, so for shifting functions, basically we're looking at how much did one graph move to get to the other. So we're looking at how many spaces left or right and how many spaces up or down. So there are two ways that you're going to see it. One is an equation and one is with the graph. With the equation, there's a little table that I want you to write down. So we're going to look at h of x plus 3, h of x minus 4, g of x minus 8, and g of x plus 7. Okay. When you have something inside parentheses, that's always going to tell you left or right, but kind of similar to how we solve for roots from factored form, we'd have x plus 3 equal to 0, and when we solve for x, it would be a minus 3, the sign would be opposite. The same thing holds true here. So we're going to look at the opposite of 3. So instead of going right 3, like you would want to say, it's actually left 3 spaces. So it's opposite. Again, negative usually means left, but we're looking at the opposite sign. So for that second example, it's actually moving 4 spaces to the right. Okay, so again, if you're looking at the direction left or right, that's going to be inside parentheses or inside some part of the equation. When your number is by itself or outside of the parentheses, that's going to refer to up or down. So this negative 8 is going to shift our graph down 8 spaces. And on the very, very last one, it's going to shift it up 7 spaces. So where those numbers are does matter. Okay. And again, you're just going to need to make a note or memorize that when you're looking at these equations, the sign is opposite. Okay, but moving back to the actual lesson, we're trying to figure out how the graph of h of x became g of x. And if we're looking at how the answer wants us to write it, it's wanting us to figure out what h is in terms of g. So if we're figuring something out starting with g, that means this is going to be our beginning graph. So similar to slope, you want to find 2 good points. So I'm just going to go with the vertex because that's a really easy spot to identify. I can see that I go up 1 space to get to h, and I moved left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So I went to the left 5 spaces and I went up 1 space. So again, we're starting with g of x, so I'm going to write g of x. Going back to our table, we're saying that we're going left, which means I need to have a plus number inside my parentheses. So for us, we're going to put plus 5 because we went left 5 spaces. Okay, and then getting out of that parentheses, we're looking at the shift up or down, and this one the sign was straightforward, so it should just be plus 1. Okay, one of the other ways that you could see this question asked is with graphs. So it's saying the graph of this function is shown below, and we need to move one of these graphs to be 1/2 absolute value of x minus 9. Now I know this looks weird, but again, we're just looking at our rules. So I'm going to look inside where the parentheses would be, or absolute value, and I see that there is nothing added or subtracted to this number. So that means I never moved left or right. But if I look at the end, right, the number at the very end, I have a negative 9 now. So that means no matter what this graph is, we moved this graph 9 spaces down. So all we need to do is find where our good points on the first graph are, which is at 0, 0, and I'm going to drag this one to where I'm totally on top of the first graph. Okay, once you have that, we're just looking at our transformation. So again, looking at this, we didn't move left or right, but we did move down 9 spaces. So all I'm going to do is drag these dots down 9 spaces. So that means this one drops down to -9. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So again, I know this one seems really weird, but once you get over the weird looking equations and are just looking for left or right, up or down, I think it will be a little bit easier. If you need additional instruction, I would start with the videos that they have. They're pretty good, even if it's not the most exciting thing in the world. And then you can always ask me if I'm able to get to you in time. So good luck, and let me know if you need anything else.